are going to study about the climate of India. Okay, so we are going to study about climate of India. So in this lecture we are going to study about various topics. So which are the topics? So we will study about the weather and climate, and we will also study what is the difference between weather and climate. Okay, then we will also study about the unity and diversity of climate in India. You will find that there is diversity in the climate of India, but still you call it as a same type of climate, that is the monsoon type of climate. Okay, then we will study about the factors which are determining the climate of India. Which are the factors which determine the climate of India? Then we will study about the winter season, then we will study about the summer season, and then Indian monsoon. Okay, so these are the topics which we are going to study in this lecture. Okay, so first let's start with the weather and climate. What is the difference between weather and climate? So it is very basic difference. So if you have seen, if you are watching news regularly on television, the television has a special show and they call it as weather report. Okay, so they don't call it as climate report, that is a weather report. The weather report may be of the day or a week. Okay, day or a week. So that means the momentary state of atmosphere for a day or a week. For example, very short period of time, for a day or 2 days or a week. Okay, so the whatever the atmospheric changes are taking place within a day or within a week, that is called as weather changes. Okay, but the changes which determine, if the weather changes take place and for a long period of time, and it determines the weather of area, it is called as climate. If it refers to the average of weather condition. Okay, the average of weather condition, for example, for 50 years the average of weather was the same, so it will determine its climate. So the average of weather condition over a long period of time, maybe 50 years or more, it is called as climate. So it is basic difference. Weather means temporary, a day or 2 days or a week, but the average weather changes for 50 years or more than that, it determines the climate of a particular area. Okay, so this is the basic difference. Weather means short period of time and climate means average of the weather for more than 50 years. Okay, 50 or more than 50 years. So this is the basic difference between weather and climate. Okay, now let's move forward. So you will find that there is unity and diversity in Indian climate. Why is that? We find that there is unity as well as diversity of climate in India. For example, take example of Kerala and Tamil Nadu and Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. So these are the two places from South India, Kerala and Tamil Nadu, and Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. These two places are from North India. Okay, and these two places have different type of climates, right? Kerala and Tamil Nadu have different type of climate. Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, they have different type of climate. So this represents the diversity of climate, but still we see that it is called as a monsoon type of climate. So this is the unity of climate. So diversity, unity within diversity in climate also. So India has unity within diversity in terms of climate also. So the climate of Kerala and Tamil Nadu is different, the climate of Uttar Pradesh and Bihar is different, but still we call it as monsoon type of climate because there are some factors which contribute or which are most important to determine the climate of South India as well as North India. Okay, that are monsoon. So we are going to study about that in detail in this lesson only in further topics. Okay, again, if you see how is the diversity, you will find the day and night temperature are also different at different places, right? So if you have visited, if you are from Kerala or if you are not from South India, if you have visited the South India portion, you will find that the Kerala and Andaman Islands, the difference between day and night temperature is very less. I'm again telling you, the difference between day and night temperature is very less in Kerala and Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Okay, but the difference between day and night temperature is very high in Thar Desert. Thar Desert in Rajasthan, okay, or in North India, specifically in North India, okay. So this again represents the diversity of climate in India. So the difference in day and night temperature is very less in Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, but in North India, specifically in Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab, in those areas, the difference between day and night temperature is very high. Okay, so this is again a diversity of Indian climate. Okay, again the precipitation, that means the rainfall also varies. So the precipitation also varies with the region. So if you see in Himalayas, there is a snowfall, okay, but in other areas you will find it only normally rains. So in Himalayan region there is a snowfall, but in other areas, like for example the central Indian part, the western Indian part, the South India, the northeast, you will find there is normally rainfall. And again rainfall is also not same at every place. If you see in the northeast area, that is in Cherrapunji and Mawsynram, these are the two places where you will find that these two places in India, these two places receive heavy rainfall. They receive the highest rainfall in India as well as in world. Okay, Cherrapunji and Mawsynram, they receive the highest rainfall. These are in Meghalaya. Remember, these two places are in Meghalaya and they receive the highest amount of rainfall in India as well as in world, Cherrapunji and Mawsynram. So we were talking about the distribution of rainfall also. So we have seen that in Himalayas there is snowfall, but in other areas there is normal rainfall. But this normal rainfall, it is also not even. It is different in Northeast India and it is different in Central India, West India. Okay. So this again represents the diversity of climate of India. Okay. So you see that in the Northeast India, that is in Mawsynram and Cherrapunji, you will find heavy rainfall, and in Jaisalmer in Rajasthan it is very less. So this is the diversity of climate of India. Okay. So we see that there is unity and diversity of climate in India. Now we are going to see why is this diversity of climate in India. Okay, now we have seen actually the structures of the diversity of climate. Now we are going to delve in each and every aspect to study it in detail. Okay. Now what are the factors which determine the climate of India? Okay, factors determining the climate of India. So the factors, India's climate is controlled by a number of factors which can be broadly divided into two groups. Okay. So the first group is factors related to location and relief, where the area is actually located, whether it is located in northern India or whether it is located in the southern India or it is located in the eastern part of India, that is in the northeast region or in the normal eastern coast area, or whether it is located in the northwestern part of India. So the factors related to location and relief. Relief means what type of relief it has, whether it has a desert or whether it has hilly area or whether it is a plain area. So this also affects on the climate of India. So it is also an important factor which determines the climate of India. So location and relief. So these are the two important factors which determine the climate of India. Again, the second group is the factors related to air pressure and winds. And this also determines the climate of India. So these are the two groups. We are going to study about that each and every group in detail. Okay. So first let's start about the factors related to location and relief. Location and relief and how they play an important role in the determination of climate of India. Okay. So which are the factors related to location and relief? So you will find latitude. So latitude, you know that these are the horizontal lines, the horizontal imaginary lines drawn on the earth. Okay. So the 0 degrees equator, as you go forward, it is 23.5. It is Tropic of Cancer in North Hemisphere and Tropic of Capricorn in the Southern Hemisphere. Okay. So you know that the Tropic of Cancer, that is 23.5, it divides India into two equal parts. So this latitude also plays an important role in the determination of the climate of India. How? As you go higher in the latitudes, okay, So this, for example, you consider this 23.5 as the middle portion. This divides India into two equal parts. So as you go forward from this, as you go towards the north side from the Tropic of Cancer, this is Tropic of Cancer, and if you go northwards, the climate of India will go on changing as you go away from the Tropic of Cancer. Okay, so this latitude also plays an important role. Second is the Himalayan mountains. Now we know that Himalayan mountains play as a barrier. It acts as a barrier and it protects India from the incoming colder winds, right? The colder winds which are coming from the polar areas. Okay, from the Siberian and polar area, the colder winds are coming, and the cold winds are stopped by Himalayan mountains. So the Himalayan mountain also play an important role in the determination of the climate of India. Similarly, the Himalayan mountain also play an important role, and they stop the monsoon winds. They stop the monsoon winds and they determine the area of North India. Okay, so this is the reason the Himalayan mountains, they also determine the climate of India. Secondly, the distribution of land and water. Now the distribution of land and water is very important. So we know that on earth there is more water than land surface. Okay, there is more water than land surface, and as you know that the land, it gets heated up quickly. Okay, suppose this is land, so this land surface will get heated up quickly by the heat, by the solar radiation. Okay, it will get heated up quickly, and after some time when the sun sets down, it will get cooled down also quickly. So this is the basic difference between land and water. In case of water, if you see, you will find that the water heats up slowly and it cools down also slowly. So remember, land heats up fast and water land heats up fast and cools down fast. Water cools down slowly and heats down also slowly. So this is the basic difference between land and water, and this is the main reason they determine the temperature of any area. For example, if you see, when we are studying about the South India and North India, the land from the distance from the sea is very important. Okay, so these 2 points are interrelated, the distribution of land and water and the distance from the sea. These 2 points are interrelated. How? I'll tell you. For example, if you see the Kerala and Tamil Nadu, so this is, for example, this is the southern part of India. Okay, the peninsular area, and here is the sea. So this is sea. Okay, the blue color, this is sea, and this is the mainland India. Okay, now if you see this southern area, so what will happen here? Now we know that the land gets heated up quickly. So solar radiation are coming and the land is getting heated up quickly, and same time the solar radiation is also falling on water, but it is getting heated up slowly. Okay, and here it is, the process is very fast. Now what will happen? So as the land will heat up, the low pressure area will be created. Okay, because you know that when the air gets heated, it expands and the low pressure area is created. Okay, so here the low pressure area will be created on the land surface, low pressure area. Okay, but on the sea, that is on the water surface, the water will get heated up slowly. So here there will be high pressure area when it compared to the land surface. So here is the high pressure area on sea, on land it is the low pressure area. So what happens when there is difference between the pressure? So remember always, the air moves from high pressure to low pressure. Okay, so during the daytime the winds will blow from high pressure to low pressure. That means the winds will blow from sea towards land. Okay, and this will moderate the climate of the coastal area. This sea breezes, this is called as sea breezes. Okay, sea breezes, it will moderate the climate of coastal area of the southern area. Okay, so this is very important. This is called as moderating effect of sea. It is also called as moderating effect of sea. And remember, it is all because of that pressure difference. Okay, and the basic thing we have seen is the land gets heated up quickly and it cools down quickly. Similarly, water, it heats up slowly and cools down slowly. Now what will happen during night? During night, the land, it will cool down very quickly. Okay, so here you will find it is high pressure, and similarly at this time water will be heated up because water takes time to heat up, right? So here it will be low pressure. So again, during night the winds will blow from land to sea. So this is called as sea breezes, and this is the moderating effect of sea. Okay, and this plays an important role in the determination of the climate of the coastal area. But when we speak about the northern India, okay, so northern India is very far away from sea. Okay, northern India, it is very far away from sea, so it does not have any moderating effect of sea. Northern India, it will not face any sea breezes. So during daytime, the temperature in northern India will be very high because there is no moderating effect of sea, and in night also the temperature will go down very fast. Okay, so this is the basic reason why there is the difference between the temperature in the southern area, in the coastal area, as well as in the internal part of area, that is mainly in the northern India. Okay, so this is the basic reason why there is the difference between the temperature of southern India or the coastal India or the northern India. Okay, so this is these two topics are interrelated: distribution of land and water and the distance from the sea. Now altitude is also very important. How? As you go high, because if you have gone on a trek, on a mountain, you will see that as you go high, as you go above, you go on climbing, reach a certain height, that time you will feel that the temperature goes on decreasing. Okay, so as you go high, the temperature goes on decreasing. So those places which are located on high altitude areas, for example, the hill station like Shimla, Manali, Kullu. Okay, so these areas are located at high elevation, that is high altitude, and this is the reason they will have cooler type of climate. Similarly, in the Nilgiri region also, in the southern India, in the Tamil Nadu area, there are a lot of Udagmandalam. This is a famous hill station. That hill station will also have a cooler climate. Okay, and this is all because of altitude, and as we know that as we go high, the temperature goes on decreasing. Okay, and then relief is also very important, as we have seen that the relief plays an important role because the Rajasthan desert and what type of climate you have, what type of land structure you have, if you have a green type of if you have vegetation or if you have deserts, so it will also act upon the climate and it will also determine the climate. Okay, so this is the reason, these are the factors which are related to the location and relief of the climate. Okay, and this determine the climate of a particular region. Okay, now second is the factors related to air pressure and winds. Now the first factor we have seen, that is the factors related to location and relief. Okay, remember, don't get confused. So the first We have seen the location and relief. Now we will study the factors related to air pressure and winds. So location का तो हम लोगों ने देख लिया, अब देखते हैं air pressure and winds and how does it affect the climatic condition of India. Okay. So there are two groups. First is the mechanism of weather in winter season, and secondly the mechanism of weather in the summer season. We have to study these two mechanisms to understand how this affect the climate of India. How does this air pressure, because this winter season and summer season are a result of air pressure and winds only. Okay, ये दोनों सीजन्स जो है ये एयर प्रेशर, द सर्कुलेशन ऑफ एयर प्रेशर एंड विंड्स की वजह से ही ये दोनों सीजन जो है ये अपनी जगह पर आते हैं. ठीक है. So we are going to study about that, the mechanism of weather in the winter season as well as the mechanism of weather in the summer season. So first let's start with the winter season. Okay. So winter season, if you are from North India or if you have visited North India in the winter season, you will find this type of climate, isn't it? It is very cold in northern India. Why? Because we have seen that northern India, firstly, main thing is northern India is situated far away from the seas. It does not have any sea to give it a moderating effect. First thing. Second thing is it is very close to the Himalayan mountains, which act as a barrier for the cold winds which are coming from the polar region. Okay, so this is the reason North India faces colder type of climate. Firstly, far away from sea, and secondly closer to cold winds which come from polar regions. Okay, or the Siberian region from the Russian part of Russia. Okay, so this is the main reason the North Indian region have colder climates and when we compare to the South India. Now the surface pressure and winds are very important, which determine the winter season in North India. Okay, because this surface pressure, and how does this winter season take place? Firstly, so we have to understand that, we have to study that. So what happens is in winter months, okay, in winter months what happens, it will happen that the weather conditions over India are generally influenced by the distribution of pressure in Central and Western Asia. Okay, now we will go step by step, so try to understand each and every step very carefully. Okay, so first is in the winter months what will happen is the weather condition over India are generally influenced by the distribution of pressure in Central and Western Asia. Central and Western Asia. Okay, Central and Western Asia means which are the Central Asian countries, the Kyrgyzstan, the Kazakhstan, the Uzbekistan, the Turkmenistan. These are the Central Asian countries. Okay, so the pressure over there, it is very important to study our Indian winter. Okay, so a high pressure center is in the region lying to the north of the Himalayas, developed during winter. So now to understand this, you need to understand the rotation of Earth around the Sun. Now in our previous chapters we have studied that Earth is revolving around the Sun. Okay, and we know that Earth has a tilted axis of 23.5 degrees. Okay, now when the southern hemisphere is close to Earth, that means when southern hemisphere of Earth is close to Sun, that time it will receive more energy, and the northern hemisphere it will receive less energy. So same thing happens in winter. What happens is, due to the tilted axis of Earth, so for example this is Sun and this is Earth. Okay, sorry for the diagram, try to understand. Okay, so what will happen, so here the southern hemisphere will receive more energy and the northern hemisphere will receive less energy. So in this time what will happen, a high pressure area will be created. Why? Because less sun rays are reaching to the north hemisphere, and because of this a high pressure area will be created in the northern hemisphere, and mainly to the north of the Himalayas. Okay, north of the Himalayas there will be a high pressure. So this center of high pressure gives rise to the flow of air at the low level from the north towards the Indian subcontinent south of the mountain range. So now we have seen that in the northern area, okay, so in the northern area, so just a representative map. So in the northern area, so here there is a high pressure area, okay, because very less energy is received at this area. And what will happen, and here comparatively the pressure is low, comparatively, okay, when we compare to the northern area, here the pressure is low because still the southern area will receive some amount of energy, but this area is very far from the sun rays, so it will receive less energy. So a high pressure area will be created, and here the low pressure area will be created. And we know that the air flows from high pressure to low pressure, okay. So the surface winds blowing out of the high pressure center over Central Asia reach India in the form of a dry continental air mass. So similarly, the winds which are blowing from Central Asia, we know there are Central Asian countries like Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan. So these are the Central Asian countries. There will be a high pressure area, and wind will start flowing from those area towards India, okay. Now what will happen next? So there is the pattern of air circulation discussed above is witnessed only at the lower level. Now remember, these winds are flowing, these winds are blowing at only lower level, okay. They are not blowing toward up to a high height, okay. So they are blowing at very lower level near the surface of ground, okay. So the pattern, it is only about so we have seen that the Central Asian area, it is having a high pressure, okay. And here is, for example, here is our India. This is our India, and here is the high pressure area, and the winds are blowing from high pressure to low pressure, okay. So we will have the winds coming from high pressure towards low pressure, okay. And this will be cold dry winds. These are the cold dry winds which are coming towards India because of the difference in pressure, okay. And these winds blow only towards only at the surface level, okay, only at the ground level. Now at the higher level, that is in the high altitude, that higher layers of the atmosphere, high up in the lower troposphere, about 3 km above the surface of the earth, a different pattern of air circulation is observed. Now for this, till now we were studying about the winds which were blowing from the winds which were blowing at the lower level, but now at the higher level, in the lower troposphere, there is a wind circulation. The pattern of wind circulation is going on, okay. So this wind is flowing in a direction. Now the variation in the atmospheric pressure closer to the surface of the earth have no role to play in the making up of upper air circulation. Now this lower level upper circulation is totally different from the air circulation which is going on in the upper air layer, okay. So all of the Western and Central Asia remains under the influence of westerly winds along the altitude of 9 to 13 km from west to east. So remember, there is a jet stream, and this jet stream is called as upper air circulation, okay. So these winds blow from the Asian continent at latitudes north of the Himalayas, roughly parallel to the Tibetan highlands, and these are known as jet streams, okay. So let me explain you again. So this is the Indian subcontinent. This is the Indian subcontinent, and remember, here we were talking about the high pressure area, okay. So here it will be a high pressure area because sun rays are falling only here. So this is the equator. Sun rays are falling only here, and here in this area, that is in mainland India, the sun rays are not very high, okay, not in much amount. So what will happen? Here will be in northern India, that is in the northern hemisphere, there will be high pressure area because of low sun rays, high pressure area. So what, and you know that the winds blow from high pressure to low pressure, remember? So the winds will start to blow from high pressure to low pressure, and this will be cold dry winds, remember, this will be cold dry winds, and this will blow into India. But remember, these winds are flowing at ground level. They are not blowing at a high altitude, okay, they are blowing at a certain ground level, near to very ground surface. But at the higher level there is a wind circulation going on, and that is called as a jet stream. Now this jet stream, it originates from the Mediterranean region, okay, it originates from the Mediterranean region from here, and it starts to blow, okay, it starts to blow, and it faces the Tibetan plateau. It faces the Tibetan plateau, and it is divided into two. So it is divided into two parts. One is the northern part of the jet stream, western jet stream, and the one is the southern part of the western jet stream. So this southern part of western jet stream, it blows from the northern area of India. Remember this. Remember, two winds are blowing at same time. These winds, these cold dry winds which are originating from the Central Asia, they are blowing at ground level, and this jet stream, it is blowing at higher level. So this ground level winds have nothing to do with the higher western jet stream, okay. Now this jet stream, it is flowing from western part of India, it is flowing from west side to east side, so they are called as western jet stream, okay. So Tibetan highlands act as the barrier in the path of these jet streams, and as a result the jet stream gets bifurcated. One of its branches blows to the north of the Tibetan highlands, while the southern branch blows in the eastward direction south of the Himalayas. So this is the jet stream which we were talking about, okay. So this is the jet stream which we are talking about. It is getting bifurcated into two. One is blowing in the northern direction from the Tibetan region, and one is the southern jet stream which is blowing from India, from west to east, okay. So this is the jet stream which is blowing from west to east from the northern part of India, and at the same time the cold winds are blowing into the cold air mass. The cold air winds are blowing from north south to south side at the ground level. So these are the two factors which are taking place in the Indian subcontinent during the winter season, okay. So the western cyclonic disturbances. Now when the jet streams are blowing from the Mediterranean region and they come to India, that time they bring along with them moisture from the Mediterranean Sea, okay, they are blowing from the Mediterranean Sea, and they bring moisture along with them. And in winter season, you know that there is the areas like Punjab and Haryana, they will have rainfall in winter season, okay. So this is called as western cyclonic disturbances, and this happens due to the western jet stream, okay. The western cyclonic disturbances which enter into Indian subcontinent from the west and northwest during the winter months originate over Mediterranean Sea and are brought into India by the westerly jet stream, okay. So this westerly jet stream, it is bringing along with it the moisture from Mediterranean Sea, and in winter the northern area, they will have a rainfall which is actually considered as good for the wheat crop, okay. So generally the western cyclonic disturbances can be seen that there is an increase in the prevailing night temperature, and generally indicates an advance in the arrival of this cyclonic disturbances, okay. Western cyclonic disturbances means there is a moisture which is brought by the western jet stream, and there is a short rainfall in the northern region, mainly in the Punjab region and in the Haryana, as well as in the western part of Delhi also, okay. So tropical cyclones originate over the Bay of Bengal, you know, and in the Indian Ocean, and these tropical cyclones have very high wind velocity and have heavy rainfall and hit the Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Orissa coast. So these are different. So these are tropical cyclones. You know that tropical cyclones are mainly concentrated on the eastern side of eastern coast of India. Okay. So this was all about the winter season. Now the summer season. Now summer season is different. So summer season is actually the reversal of the winds, the flow of wind. Okay. So what happens in summer season? So as the summer sets in and the sun shifts northwards, that means now what will happen? The northern hemisphere, it will have more amount of energy. Okay, the northern hemisphere will have more amount of energy because the sun has shifted towards north. That means the earth has revolved around the sun, and the northern hemisphere will have more amount of energy. So at that time what will happen? The sun sets, the summer sets in and the sun shifts northward. The wind circulation over the subcontinent undergoes a complete reversal at both the lower as well as the upper level. So now we have seen at the lower level what was going on. The winds were blowing from the northern part of Himalaya, and they were coming towards the peninsular area, right? But now there will be a reversal of winds. Okay, so by the middle of July, the low pressure belt near the surface, termed as the intertropical convergence zone, shifts towards northward, roughly parallel to the Himalayas. So now the ITCZ, the intertropical convergence zone, that will shift towards northward, and there will be a low pressure area, and in the sea area there will be high pressure area. Okay, so by this time the westerly jet stream withdraws from Indian region because of the low pressure area which is created in the northern India. The westerly jet stream which was blowing from Mediterranean Sea, it will withdraw from India. Okay, so the ITCZ, being a zone of low pressure, attracts inflow of winds from different direction. Now the winds will start to blow from southern area towards the northern area. So the maritime tropical air mass from southern hemisphere, after crossing the equator, rushes to the low pressure area in the general southwesterly direction. It is the moist air current which is popularly known as the southwest monsoon. So let's study with the diagram. So now we have seen in the winter season what was happening. The winds were blowing from northern part of the winds were blowing from northern part to the southern part. But now, as the reversal of wind is taking place because of the change in the position of sun. Actually, it is because of the change in position of earth only, not because of sun, but as the earth is revolving around the sun, due to the position of earth, now the northern hemisphere will have high amount of solar energy, and this will create low pressure in northern India. Low pressure, and in the sea it will be high pressure. And you know that the winds blow from high pressure to low pressure. Okay, so these winds which are blowing from high pressure to low pressure, it will deflect in the right direction. Okay, because you know that winds deflect in the right direction when they are blowing in the northern hemisphere. We have studied this. Okay, we have studied this Farrell's law, Coriolis effect. Okay, because of the Coriolis effect, the winds will deflect in the right direction, and this is called as southwest monsoon. Okay, so here will be summer, and later on there will be summer. Okay, and later on the winds will start to blow. So after some time, the winds which are carrying the moisture, the winds which are blowing from the sea area, they will carry moisture along with them. Okay, the winds which are flowing from the sea area, that is from the Indian Ocean, they will carry moisture along with them, and that will result in the burst of monsoon on the Indian peninsula. Okay, that is mainly in the Indian subcontinent actually. Okay, so this is the reason. First there will be summer, and later on at the end of summer the winds will start to rush into the Indian subcontinent, and when the southwest winds are rushing into Indian subcontinent, they will bring along with them moisture, and it will rain in India. So this is the basic principle. Okay, now an easterly jet stream flows over the part of peninsula in June. Now we have seen in winter there was a westerly jet stream which was flowing from this direction, right? And it was getting bifurcated into two. One was flowing from the north of the Tibetan region, one was flowing from the northern area of India. But now this western jet stream, it is withdrawn in the summer season. Now in the summer season as well as in the rainy season, in the monsoon time, there will be a jet stream which will flow from the eastern direction. So this is called as eastern jet stream or easterly jet stream, because it is flowing from eastern direction, right? So this is east, so it is flowing from east direction, so it is called as easterly jet stream. Okay, it is flowing from the southern part of peninsula in June and has a maximum speed of 90 km per hour. Okay, so this easterly normally do not exceed to the north of the 30° north latitude, okay, in the upper atmosphere. So again, this easterly jet stream is also a phenomena which is experienced in the upper atmosphere, and it is flowing from the eastern direction. Now this will create a certain type of vacuum actually, because now the winds were flowing from the south side, right? And this winds were flowing from south side and they are coming into India, and this easterly is also coming. Now this easterly is pushing these winds away, so again a low pressure is created here. Then again the winds are rushing in, and when the winds are rushing in, after some time they will carry moisture along with them from the Indian Ocean, and this will result into the rainfall. Okay, so the easterly jet stream steers a tropical depression into India. Here it will create a tropical depression into India. These depressions play a significant role in the distribution of monsoon rainfall over the Indian subcontinent, and the tracks of these depressions are the areas of highest rainfall in India. Okay, remember this easterly jet stream, it will create a depression over here, and again more and more winds will be rushing over here, and this track of easterly jet stream is called as the area of highest rainfall in India. Okay, so here this is the easterly jet stream. So remember, winds are coming. Earlier they will be the dry winds. Later on they will start carrying moisture along with them, and this easterly jet stream is coming and it is creating a depression. Okay, and as it is creating a depression, more and more winds will rush into that depression, and this easterly jet stream will actually move till the 30° north latitude, and this area will receive the more amount of rainfall, because later on this easterly jet stream will move forward. Okay, so how is the nature of Indian monsoon? So monsoon is a familiar though a little known climatic phenomenon. Despite the observations spread over countries, the monsoon continues to puzzle scientists. Okay, there is still a question that how does this monsoon actually take place, and a lot of theory has been given by various scientists. Okay, so many attempts have been made to discover the exact nature and causation of monsoon, but so far no single theory has been able to explain the monsoon fully. Okay, so a real breakthrough has come recently when it was studied at the global rather than the regional level. Earlier the studies of monsoon were going on at the regional level, but later on the studies of monsoon started to be done at global level, and then only the principle of monsoon was able to explain by the scientist. So mango showers and break in the monsoon, what are this? So the early monsoon showers, okay, the early monsoon showers which are experienced on the western coast of India. The early monsoon showers which are experienced at the western coast of India, they are called as mango showers. Now this may be a question in our exam, what are mango showers? So these are the early monsoon rains. Remember, these are the early monsoon rains which are experienced on the western coast of India, and these rains are actually good for mango crop. mango or okay, this rains are actually good for the mangoes, and that is the reason they are called as mango showers. And break in the monsoon is that the monsoon are not the monsoon does not keep going on for continuously. Okay, there are certain breaks in the monsoon, and this dry spell is called as the break in the monsoon. Okay, the gap between the monsoon, like for example, there the rains will be going on, there will be rainfall, and again the rainfall will stop suddenly for like a week or 10 days. So these are called as break in the monsoon. Next is there are the climatic regions of India according to Koypan. Now Koypan was a scientist and he divided climatic regions of India into many parts. So first he said that there are various type of climate in India. India does not have a single type of climate, but he said that there are various type of climates, and he divided Indian areas depending upon the type of climate. So first he said that monsoon with short dry season. Okay, he said that there is an area where it is experiencing monsoons with short dry season, and he gave a short form for that abbreviation. Okay, that is AMW. And which is this area? He said that it is the west coast of India, south of Goa. So he said the west coast of Goa experiences the monsoon with short dry season. So this part, monsoon with short dry season, he said this is the monsoon with a short dry season, and he gave the short form. Now this is very important. Okay, this AMW. Now many times what happens, the question is like they ask you what is this, what does this AMW stands for, which type of climate does it represent. So remember, you have to remember that this AMW represents the monsoon with short dry season. Okay, remember the AMW represents the monsoon with short dry season, and which is the area? He said that west coast of India, south of Goa. Okay, so this is the west coast of Goa. So west coast of India, south of Goa. So here is the Goa, south of Goa. He said this is the area which experiences monsoon type of short dry season. Then he said the next type of climate, he said, is the monsoon with dry summer. Okay, monsoon with dry summer, that means in summers there will be no rainfall, and he said the Coromandel coast of Tamil Nadu has this type of climate. Which type? Monsoon with dry summer, that means monsoon will be there, but in the summers there will be no rainfall, and he gave it as AS. The short form which he gave, it was AS. So this area, he said that this area has monsoon with dry season in summer. Remember, and he gave the name as AS. Again, these short forms are very important because there are questions coming in exam depending on the relating to the short forms. Next is the tropical savanna climate. He said the tropical savanna climate is experienced at the most of the peninsular plateaus south of the Tropic of Cancer. So the peninsular plateau south of the Tropic of Cancer experiences the tropical savanna, and AW represents the tropical savanna. So this is the AW which represents the tropical savanna. So this area, this whole area, okay, this whole area represents the tropical savanna, and its short form is AW. Remember this short form is very important. Then he said that semi-arid steppe climate is also there. So where you will find this semi-arid steppe climate? So he said that northwestern Gujarat, then some parts of western Rajasthan and Punjab. Okay, so these areas you will find semi-arid steppe climate, and he gave BWHW as its short form. So BWHW. So this area, okay, this area, he said, it has semi-arid steppe climate. Then again he said that hot desert, he said, you will find in extreme western Rajasthan. Okay, so here extreme western Rajasthan you will find the hot desert. Okay, then again he said that monsoon with dry winter. Where you will find this monsoon with dry winter? You will find it in the Ganga plain, then eastern Rajasthan, then northern Madhya Pradesh, and most of the northeast India. In these areas you will find the monsoon with dry winter, and the short form is CWG. So here CWG, you will find this type of monsoon with dry winter. Okay, remember these are the boundaries, okay, and in northeast also you will find this type of monsoon with dry winter. Okay, next is, he said, the last one, no, the second last, he said the cold humid winter with short summer, and he said that it is Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, cold humid winter with short summer, and he said DFC, he gave the short form DFC. So this is the cold humid winter with short summer, and it is in Arunachal Pradesh. Cold humid winter with short summer, and DFC, remember, DFC. Okay, and then the last one, he said the polar type of climate. So you will find polar type of climate in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and Uttarakhand. Okay, and the short form is E. So here polar type of climate, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand, and Himachal Pradesh, these are the states you will find the polar type of climate. So this is the basic definition, the basic varieties, basic types of climate which the Köppen divided for our study. Okay, so these are the various types. You can pause the lesson and you can study, find out, memorize what is it given. Okay, so this is all about the Indian climate. In our next lesson we are going to study about the mineral resources of India.